Okay, welcome back to another edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse with some really weird cinema. And I got to put something over here. Newly restored Creature with the Blue Hand and Web of the Spider from Film Masters. I have talked about Creature with the Blue Hand before because I think Sam Sherman must have picked it up and he changed it to The Bloody Dead to throw out on one of his, I guess, exploitation things. I know they had shot some gore zombie footage in South Jersey. I think makeup artist Ed French had shot it for him and it was, put on a release. But standing alone, The Creature from the Blue Hand is pretty good and it showcases the talents of Klaus Kinski. Being that I had talked about this already, and this one has a razor-fingered killer which predates Freddy Krueger about a lot of years because this came out in '67. It was on the bottom half of a double bill, Beast of the Yellow Night by Eddie Romero, which was released by Roger Corman's New World, and Corman had picked up Creature with the Blue Hand from Sam Sherman on a lease deal to put on there. So this may have been the last Edgar Wallace adaptation. They called them Kirmes. Rialto Films had put out a lot of them. They'd started in the mid-'60s, and it was like a stock company of German actors, not only with Kinsky, but with Heinz Dracht, Eddie Arndt, Joachim Furstberger, and some other people you'd recognize. But it was always a revolving bunch of these same characters. And there was a documentary on this disc hosted by C. Courtney Joyner, and said a couple things that I really didn't know, that Kinsky was actually diagnosed with schizophrenia and hospitalized by it. And he had been, released and was doing these films. And the thing was that Kinsky's name, because of these Kirmes, was money in Germany, which led to him being cast in for a few dollars more because that got some German money involved. So they would always use Kinsky to draw some German money in there. And Kinsky basically was a good actor in a lot of these things. If you look at the whole things and see how this whole thing progressed, especially up to Creature with the Blue Hand, which was one of the only ones that was shot in color. Most were shot in black and white. And Mr. Joyner says that they wound up on the bottom half of double and triple bills, in the States. But I can only remember a couple of them. Like I said, The Creature with the Blue Hand on, the bottom half of Beast with the Yellow Night. And I can remember another one called The Mad Executioners that Paramount had picked up and put it, backing up another horror film, which I can't fucking remember. But they were all out there, and, it opened the door for Kinsky to, do a lot of other shit. And Harry Alan Towers came into the mix and cast Kinsky and a lot of the other, Edgar Wallace actors in those films in another film called Circus of Fear and then Five Golden Dragons, which I talked about before. So Kinsky got that huge shot in the arm and was doing, not only spaghetti westerns, but some crime stuff like Grand Slam. And funny thing is, I can remember at least 3 films where he was called Dave. In one of them, because he plays twins in Creature with the Blue Hand. And it was a spaghetti western where he was Dave. I believe it was. It might have been 2 of them. It could have been, because he did a lot of work for Margaretti. I know that. I can't remember the name of the damn thing. It's a gothic spaghetti western. But anyway, then, he was in Grand Slam with Edgar, oh God, I'm getting bad. Edward G. Robinson and Janet Leigh and some other people, and that was a pretty good crime heist thing. Not that it's a grindhouse film, because it's more involved, but another one that's worth picking up. So it's really weird that some of our, most popular actors in the grindhouse genre, like Kinsky and again Timothy Carey, were probably completely fucking insane. Probably a few other people like that too. But Kinsky, always put in a good performance. He was erratic, hard to work with. At one film, they were considered actually knocking him off to collect the insurance money because he was such a pain in the ass. And of course, he was in Venom with Oliver Reed. You knew that wasn't going to mix well. And if you pick up the Blu-ray or DVD of Venom and you listen to the auto commentary, Oliver Reed put up with Kinsky until Kinsky just stepped in front of him and moved his arm out of the scene, and then Oliver went berserk, and Oliver knew better than to even try to get into a fight with the guy because Oliver would have fucking killed him. So he amused himself by calling him a fucking Nazi cunt on the set and banging on his trailer and screaming Nazi cunt at him. So it's interesting with all the interactions Kinsky had with certain people and their recollections of him, which, you know, I remember Aldo Sambrell said that he fucking hated him and he was a scumbag and shit like that. So everybody has their own little opinions of Kinsky when they worked with him and things. So the other film on here is Web of the Spider, which is a remake of Margaretti's Castle of Blood, which was in black and white. And honestly, the color scene by scene remake, the only thing that works for it is Kinsky's portrayal of Edgar Allan Poe, which is a little bit more manic than the one in the original. Anthony Franciosa takes over the Jorge Rivera role, where he spends the night in the castle with the ghosts and with, you know, tragic consequences come morning. So both of these films are pretty much decently restored, where they're, you know, watchable as opposed to their drive-in and grindhouse versions. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. Above all, stay safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.